Hello. Hi. Likutei Halachos, hilchos Tefilin halacha. So we were saying that the mahalach of Tefilin Shel Yad and Tefilin Shel Rosh is that the mur can go away, but what remains is the reshimu of the moichin of the malchus, which is the moichin of the amuna. When the tzaddik goes to sleep and he takes away his moichin, and he plunges himself into amuna, and with that the neshamas of the pshutei am, the regular people, those that are lost in the abyss, those that are lost in those that fell to the klipot, are taken out, and those that fall into halacha, they're also actually the neshamas of those that fall into halacha, into the vacant space. Then explains they actually let me get my words right. So they get out of jail, so to speak. They get out of jail free card is different, because what happens is that when it says there are two types of questions, it says actually two types of questioning, which is not, questions is legitimate. Questioning is like, whoa, just a second, just whoa, hold on. It's like, says who? That's a different kind of, there are two types of apikourses, of lack of emunah, of doubting. There's one doubting that has comes from a question that there is a seichel on it. It comes from a place where there's reason there. On such a question, you can answer, because you can answer it with reason. But then there are questions that comes from halacha, that really, the questions themselves are not questions at all. But because of lack of understanding, they look incredibly profound. So they confuse you. There's no, so on this type of doubting, there is no answer. Because you cannot answer stupidity. There's no way to answer a question which is not a question.
Like, can Hashem move a rock that he can't make?
Yeah, it can make a rock that you cannot lift. I mean, it's not a question, B'chlas. There's no. I mean, this is the kind of questions you can answer, but the other ones, it's just like So the Rebbe says it's like somebody who's saying silly svara in Gemara. It comes with a kasha that rests on a silly assumption. And because there's no Talmid Chacham around to explain why it doesn't even begin, it looks to everybody to be like, whoa, wow, you broke the bank, that's it. This is what it will be somebody that knows this thing doesn't even start. Now, the thing is that, so Rabbeinu explains that the questions that come that from no reason, based on assumption that doesn't even begin, are called questions that emanate from halacha, from the vacant space. They're questions that emanate from nothingness. So Rabbeinu says they don't have answers because because there's not enough time in the world to answer for those questions. The only way to overcome these kind of questions, which befall anyone, the only way to overcome these questions is to go over them. And I was to disregard them, to overlook them, and go over them. It says that's why it's called Avram HaIvri. Ever means beyond. So this is why it's called Avram HaIvri. Abelu says it's called HaIvri because Am Yisrael through their Emunah, they go beyond all the questions of halacha. Just skip it. Why? Because I believe. Boom, finished. Then you start on. You don't, because the minute you try to cross this river, you drown in it because there's no reason there. And it has to be that way because the entire world was created with this river of challah. It's part of creation. Either you go over it or you don't go over it. That's why Avram Avinu is called, the Kol Ha'olam Be'ever Echad and Avram Be'ever Sheni. And the entire world is in one riverbank, and Avram Avinu is on the other side. Avinu says, they called Ivrim, She'ovrim Be'emunasam on all the kashas, that they just spring over this, the skip, that's it. There are no answers there. He says, but there are Yiddish neshamas that fall there. You go, you look, you see Sfarim, you see whatever it is, so boom, suddenly, doubts come in, and people sink there. Now, the thing is that the neshamas that sink there cannot get out because there is no answer. You cannot find answers there.
Like a labyrinth without an exit.
Yeah. There are no answers there. So we learned over here that when the tzaddik goes to sleep at night, that he takes away his moichin and he plunges himself into pure emunah, the neshama of the tzaddik, the Rebbe explains in another place, the neshama of the tzaddik is what is the thing that makes a tzaddik, or rather the other way around. What does a tzaddik turn himself to in the process of becoming a tzaddik? This is true for any one of us. It all happened to each and every one of us if we do that. What happens is that we are turning ourselves into toiv, into good. The essence of good is that, or rather the nature of good is it gives to everyone and doesn't demand anything in return. This is what Arizal says when he asks the question. There are few answers to the question of why did Hashem create the world. One of the, I don't think this is the answer for Arizal. This is miteva tov letiv, because the nature of good is to do good for others without expecting a return, without expecting thanks, without just good, just give. Now, it's a different kind of give than the give of capitulation. The many people live their lives, that they're willing to give, in order to be accepted, in order to be rejected. So they put on a face of being good, but they're not really good. And what happens is that they harbor resentment inside, and then grows and grows and grows and grows. And then it explodes. That's a different thing. That's not the teva tov. There's no pchinas tov. It may be jolly, for the people on the outside. Teva tov is letiv. It's like, that's why they said the tzaddik is the soda alpha. The tzaddik is the element of the element of dust, because the nature of dust is that people step on it, they plant in it, and it gives, it grows, it gives, it just gives, it gives. That's it. Whatever you want, what do you want? You want to mine it, you want to query it, you want to dig it, bevakasha, whatever you want. The other side of it, of course, every single thing has two sides, is that it's inert. It's apathy, it's depression. The Yesoda Offer, there's a midah of Yesoda Offer, of apathy and depression. But Matzad Tov, the Yesoda Offer is that now the Yesoda Offer also has the meaning that is gravity. Inert mass has gravity. Anything is a gravity, it pulls everything to it. It pulls everything and everybody to it. Everybody stands on earth because the earth pulls them to it. The mass of the earth pulls them to it. This is Mitzad Tov. This is the nature. So the nature of the tzaddik was Pchinas Ofar. Pchinas Tov is that first of all, when you acquire goodness, first of all you give. Mimela, you want to become good. Give. It works both ways. The principle of Venosna, remember? On the other hand, the tzaddik is a magnet. He has Koach HaMoshech, yes. The tzaddik has a gravity. Goodness has a gravity. It pulls people to it. So when the tzaddik goes to sleep and he puts his moichin away and he goes into emunah, simple emunah, it puts in a level with all the people that fell from the Pshuta Yisrael, and like you're putting a magnet, a magnetized lump into iron shaving. That's how I pull them out. That's what he says, that he takes out Nishmas Yisrael that got lost. The same thing also happens with the neshamas that fall into Chalaponai. Because of Kashas Chalaponai, the man says that one is not allowed to learn, to look into the Kashas of Chalaponai, because you'll just get lost. I mean, chances are maybe you'll be able to withstand it, but maybe not. And if not, it's bye-bye, baby. You're gone. It's out of here. It is high, it is far, it is gone.
What happens?
Kashas, doubts.
Questions of what?
That stems from nothingness.
Like Apikoros used against the Shem.
Heresy that comes from nothingness. That's what we started saying. So when the neshamas that got lost in the questions of nothingness, what do you do with them? So what happens is that because they're there, they're locked, they cannot get out. So the Rebbe says there is a tzaddik that must look in those kashas. Dafka, he has to look at them. He has to go through, he has to put his mind through them. And by him going through them and skipping it, he puts this magnetized lump into Chalaponai. The neshamas that are lost there cling to him, and it takes him out. You'll notice that when you have, let's say, you have kids at risk, anger out in the park, and this and that, whatever it is, you want to try to reason with them, you want to try to scream at them, you want to try to call the police, nothing will happen, nothing will help. But what will help? If somebody comes with true goodness, right? Somebody goes in there and just emanate goodness, just gives without taking back. Just gives. What happens? Everybody, they're drawn to it because goodness is a magnet. That's why tzaddik, when he goes into emunah, he takes all the neshamas that fell off. When he goes to Chalaponai, he draws all the, because goodness is a magnet. That's why when you see tzaddikim anywhere, in Uman, whatever it is, they just go out, you have 200 people, 300 people, 500 people around them. On the spot, like, where did they come from?
Doesn't necessarily mean
No. It doesn't necessarily mean sanity. But goodness, that's what they're drawn to. They're drawn to goodness. They're drawn to kindness. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that kindness is sane. That's a different thing. It doesn't necessarily it means the right thing to do, but you're asking what is the attraction? It's just goodness, just kindness. Just kindness. You know, I remember that there's a. Kitso, I don't want to bring in kushiyot. Kushiyot mechalal panui.
Is there any examples that you can give that are in the Jewish faith?
I just did.
No, I mean like of a rabbi that's living now.
Well, look at Rav Berland.
Who?
Rav Berland.
I don't know a lot of rabbis. Berlin,
Okay,
yeah.
he's somebody that, you know, that you can say this or you can say that, but he's somebody that
Sneezes and everybody wants to give him a tissue.
it's more than just that. It's more than just that. The thing about Rav Berland is that somebody once told me a story in America. Says that, and this is very typical about him. He went with him to Ukraine years ago, and they were standing by the airport, and he said that when they came out of the customs, there was a group of Hasidic men that were just standing there, lost. A couple of Hasidic guys. So this guy told me the story. So they came. Abel and this guy came over to them. And what happened? Why are you so? So somebody stole their suitcases, and their passports and their money. They just stranded at the airport. Wow. So he said Abel just put his hand in his pocket, took every single penny he had, everything, and just gave it to them. Well, that's the way he is. You know, he says, and then we went into a taxi. He says, then we went into a taxi and we went, he says, we went there, and he says, and somehow we didn't have any money. He took all the money we had, he just gave it to these guys. He says, just went into a taxi. He said, I don't remember how we didn't need money. He said, but it ended up somehow that we didn't need money to pay for the cab. I don't understand how. So I said, what do you think, that this is a mifus? This is a miracle? It's not a miracle. When you behave to Kodesh Baruch Hu, with such, you give yourself over with such that you just give everything you have to somebody else, we think Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to leave you alone. You want to keep a little for yourself? Okay, so we'll behave with you that way. But the thing is that this guy, this particular man, this particular Rav, that's the way he is. I mean, does it mean that the way he leads his people's derech emes or not? That's a separate question, bichlal. But the thing is that he steps out of the house, there are 200 people around him. Why? Because he's just good. He's just good. Anybody who is good, you know, that you put him in a state of needy people, you know, he draws them like a magnet. Because I've never been one of his men. I'm not. But I can tell you that I was in America. I used to live in America. There was a period of time that I cannot even begin to tell you the depth of misery that I was in. I mean, I was full with tsar and with pain. My entire being was just a big walking pain. That's all it was. And when Beza came to visit America, and we stopped once by in the shul where he spoke, and I sat next to him. I waited. He spoke Shalashudis. I sat next to him and waited for him to finish speaking to somebody on the other side, so I can ask him. I can talk, whatever. So he finished with the other guy, and he turned to me and he looked at me. I don't want to tell you, I became happy from the hair on top of my head to under the sole of my feet. Became one lump of happiness. He used to make his way to this on the Williamsburg Bridge. You know the famous story. Williamsburg Bridge is a place where all the drug addicts and the prostitutes and the criminals. That's where all the cockroaches come to hang out at night. That's Williamsburg by the Williamsburg Bridge. This is it. It's the underbelly of New York. Now that's the place he used to go make his way to this at night. 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, They take the chatzos and he goes make his way over there. So one night, a black guy came over with a knife to rob him. So he started talking to the guy. Understood the talking.
In what language?
Yeah, what?
In what language?
He speaks a little English, like broken English. He spoke with the guy for hours. And this black guy told him, believe me, I was never happy in my life. In my life. The way that I'm happy now speaking with you. No, I never experienced such happiness the way that I feel right now being with you. So I heard this story from his son-in-law, who was Machavus in Koil Breslov. So I went back so I asked a Blazer about this question, about if this thing actually happened. So he told me it happened, but he told me what happened next is that the other guy, the black guy, the robber, whatever it is, invited him to his house. Invited Blazer to his house. And a Blazer is somebody that you come to him and you tell him, I want you to polish my shoes. I said, okay. Just out of goodness, not out of the, spinelessness. And sure, go ahead, I'll do it. And he went over to the guy's house. I mean, he'll give the guy nachas and he'll come to him, He makes him happy. He feels privileged to take him to his house. So he went. Got over the robber with a knife. He went with him to his house. And then just before dawn, he told him he has to go back, he has to daven. So this black guy walked him home to watch over him so nobody robbed him. Black guy. Why is that? Because it's just goodness. But it's not a goodness that stems out of helplessness, helps out of capitulation, of trying to. No, it's emes goodnessness, total giving. You can step on me and I will give. That anybody that is needy is drawn to it, automatically. So Nishmas Yisrael, they feel they even though they don't cognitively realize what it is they're missing, they're all missing the closeness of Hashem. Because the closeness of Hashem is the essence of goodness. That is what it's about. And we all miss it. We think that we miss it because of childhood traumas. We think that we miss it because of this and because of that. But these are all derivatives.
Can that good be like? Can that good that person gives the attraction be negative attraction? Like Mr. gives good, but they get negative attraction.
I don't know what you mean. I'm not sure that I understand the question.
Is people
Israel doesn't give goodness. As a people, we give multiple things, right? Mm-hmm. So we give goodness. We also give solace, right? So is that your question? Is that right?
I'm saying is that when you give goodness, people are attracted to that goodness. But could it be a negative attraction, like, oh, this guy's giving out goodness, let's rob him? You know what I mean?
So basically, when the tzaddik goes through, this magnet goes through Emunah, it brings about all the people that fell from Emunah. If the tzaddik goes through the kashas from nothingness, by going there, he attracts all the neshamas that fell there.
Can I ask a question? It might be a play on words, it might not be a question at all, but can we magnetize ourselves if we're not tzaddikim?
Yeah, by being aware to what it is that really we're lacking.
I don't know if this is a question, but like that is can a Jew be like a tzaddik in that aspect of can he make himself that he's a magnet to help people?
Yeah, by being good, becoming a tzaddik.
Well, you can't. Okay, a Jew is trying to be a tzaddik, right? But
so as much as you're successful, as much as you become a magnet.
Is it something that tzaddikim are born with, and that's their role? And they still have to work on it. But the average Jew
you're
can't
born
become
exactly like them.
Are we all equal?
We're all equal. We're all equal. It's all
He's not special.
It's all no. It is all a question of how much effort you put into it. That's it.
Okay, you're saying to me that a person can reach any length, any
Yes,
height,
yes,
and he can
yes.
reach this to such a length, even if he comes from
Rabbi
whatever.
Nachman said that.
Yes.
Rabbi Nachman said
Rabbi
that.
Nachman says that.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Rabbi Nachman says it
I hear you.
explicitly.
I hear you.
He says it all depends on how much effort you put into it. That's it. It's all up to you. It's total meritocracy. Yes. Meritocracy is a system that if you merit it, you get it. You know, democracy means anybody is just by being. You know, but if you go into business, who becomes a manager?
No,
so
I
up-
understand. Yeah.
So up to a certain point, it's meritocracy, and then becomes politics at the very end.
Is meritocracy a real word?
Yeah,
What does it mean? Oh, it's a good word. It's a
it
great word.
is. It is.
I didn't know.
Meritocracy. Merit.
Dictionary.
Yeah, meritocracy. Yeah,
It's
that's
like the Webster's dictionary. Right over here in front of us.
hello.
His second last name is Webster.
Webster.
Yes. Lucas Grundman Webster. That's it. APW Grundman.
Oh, for sure.
So when you're doing, so the moichin of the tzaddik takes the yidden out of there, and then the wake when they get up, so the tzaddik brings back the moichin of the malchus. He gives it to Am Yisrael. He's mechazik by them the emuna that they can go over, that helps them to get over all the trials and tribulations of their lives. And gives them the koach to begin every single day brand new. And then the tzaddik, you know, gets connected to what we call a ruach kina, a ruach of envy, you know, because the tzaddik himself doesn't have his own moichin. He's just, you know, projecting emunah to the people. So then it becomes envious, and he puts upon himself, he draws upon himself the moichin to be mischadish the way a tzaddik is. So we said that the mode of tefillah shel yad, the kavanas arizal, is eke havaya adne. It means, you know, an urge for renewal, which is really the essence of life, which is followed by havaya, by satisfaction, by a capturing of asagas elakos, new asaga of Hashem, where you actually bring into your kalim, into your cognition, the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then, when the moichin leave after davening, what remains is emunah. What remains is emunah that you know that Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu is shalit ba'aretz. Hashem is the one that runs the world, and whatever happens to me is temporary. It's okay. Hashem has only my goodness, only my benefit in His heart, and He knows what He's doing. It throws me, whatever it is. So I talk to Him, whatever it is. I file, I have chaverim, I'm on support system, whatever it is. It's okay. It's okay. Everything is fine. And then you have Tefillah Shel Rosh. The mode of Tefillah Shel Rosh, which is the moichin of the tzaddikim, is Eke Havaya Eke, which means Eke, I want to be, I want to become, followed by an influx of moichin,
And then discard it and start
and
again.
then the tzaddik discards it and he goes further to be mischadish. So this is what we said, this is what we learned, that every single person is supposed to go through this process of drawing upon himself the moichin in a similar way. In other words, first of all, when the moichin leave him,
What's moichin?
moichin is intellect, mentalities, awareness, knowledge, illumination. It is when the mental faculties, I would call it expanded consciousness, as opposed to constricted consciousness. Nobody can even talk to you because you just bite them. You know what I'm saying? When expanded consciousness, whoa, suddenly, you can
grasp
deal with
things
it, you
easily.
grasp things. Moichin is consciousness, basically. So every person has to go through these two types of consciousness, Tefilin shel yad and Tefilin shel rosh. Because when the moichin get away from this kind of cognition, go away from him, so through the regime of the imprint of the emunah that remain in his heart, he brings back more das and moichin to be mischazik be'emunah, to strengthen himself in emunah, in faith, to start again avodas Hashem. That's what life is about. This is Tefilin shel yad, emunah malchus. He says, and then when you get a Tefilin shel yad and you actually you become proficient at it. In other words, you renew yourself on a daily basis, and you gain this kind of proficiency not to let anything rattle you. Then you gain an equilibrium. We call menuchas hanefesh. You gain serenity. Serenity for the nefesh is the thing that enables the nefesh to feel the stimulation of the ruach, of the spirit. You have nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. So as long as the nefesh is rattled by outside distractions, it's not open. It's not perceptive to the stimulation of the ruach. Because the ruach is subtle. Rabbi Kaplan says it's like static. Does not. The ruach is like a distant station on the radio. There's a lot of static around it. You can't hear it by lifting up, turning on the volume, because it'll make the status, the static noise that much, noisier. What you need to do is you need to tune out the static, which is akin to you don't let the distractions of life get you away, rattle you. You keep equilibrium. This is me, this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is what's happening with me. Then you can turn on the volume, because when you tune out the static, you got exactly the station, then you can turn on so then you're susceptible to the ruach, and the ruach is ruach kina, is the spirit of jealousy, of envy. Basically, it's the spiritual of envy is the feeling of a loss, of a lack. That's what it says about Meisota. We said it yesterday. Ve'avar alav ruach kino v'nitmel, and the spirit of jealousy came over him, the husband, and his wife was indeed defiled. Oh, says the Chumash, avar alav ruach kino, and a spirit of jealousy will go over him, v'lo nitmel, and she wasn't defiled. In other words, the ruach kino, the spirit of jealousy, is not necessarily a bad thing, because when the ruach kina goes over him and the wife was not defiled, it's adrabah. Then they're going to have children, and they're going to have revach, and everything becomes turns into goodness, because basically what it means is that the malchus suddenly realizes what it really lacks. It's an instinct, a feeling that how much one is lacking. It can be side of the bad side or the good side. So it says, you the self, you become jealous of yourself.
Once you start feeling the ruach, you start feeling the lack.
Yeah, no, the thing that the ruach, the ruach akina, that's the thing. Feeling the lack is automatically brings on the ruach akina.
How do you feel a lack? So you have to feel a lack first, then.
When you create a lack for kedusha, when you create menuchas hanefesh, when you go through the process of strengthening yourself to go through the trial tribulations without getting rattled.
When you're b'menucha, you feel a lack.
Yes, then your nefesh feels what it really lacks. automatically that brings about ruach kinah. If you're jealous of yourself, look at you. You're able to keep an equilibrium. You're going through life. You're sailing through the storms of life, and without getting. It says, now you call yourself real great. Moichin to be meschazik and go from one level to the next, not just survive life. Even surviving life be'emunah, it's better than surviving life without emunah. But surviving life on a much greater level. Now you're using life as a ladder now. You're not just living it out, but you're going up the ladder to live each time a brand new life, to experience brand new life that you have never ever experienced before. This is what real life is. So that's why Tefilin Shel Rosh is Eke Havaya Eke. You have the urge to become, you experience isness, and you put away the moichin and you go back to urging all over again. But in our dargah, it is the urge to reach out for the new, acquisition of the new, and then rest. Emunah. This is Eke Havaya Adne. The Tefilin Shel Rosh, the Kavonis is Eke Havaya Eke. Is yearning for more, attaining, and then discarding this and getting more. Because you want the Kodesh Baruch Hu. You don't want perception, you don't want acquisition and attainment of Hasagas Elokos. You want Hashem. You want Hashem Himself. You feel the lack of itself immediately. It's wonderful, it's Hasagas, and you can just stay there and bask in the glory of Hashem, no problem. But it's the glory of Hashem, that's not Hashem Himself. When you're in this dargah of constantly growing, when you after you achieve the equanimity of the stoicism of Amunah, you go through this process of Tefilin Shel Yad, go to Tefilin Shel Rosh, constant growth. You're all the time beginning to live at any single moment. You're pre-life, and this is called eternal life. That's what David HaMelech, that was per definition a nefel, was supposed to be a stillborn, lived his life that way, because a stillborn is not even a baby that is born that will live for one day. You can take one day for granted. A stillborn cannot even take a day for granted. It has to beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give him one day as a present. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do it and he kept on doing it throughout his life. And what was his zecher? That we said David Israel, David Melech Israel Chai V'Kayim. He lives forever, because this is the essence of eternal life.
What sfira is David HaMelech?
Malchut.
Malchut.
ודאי. הולך ליבי. קפוצ'ינו.
נצח for a second, אבל עדיין.
So he says, להתחזק לדרגה, ולכנס כל פעם חייס חדש. This is tefillah shel rosh, this is the tefillah shel rosh. The name is, the shemes is Eke Havaya Eke B'chinas Chaim. And this is Simcha Zayin. וזה בחינת תפילין דרש"י, תפילין רבינו תם. We have two types of tefillin. תפילין דרש"י, תפילין רבינו תם. Over בכוונס, we already says in the כוונס, תפילין רבינו תם, מויכין גדולים יויס. The כוונס says that really the consciousness that is hidden in תפילין רבינו תם is on a higher level than תפילין דרש"י. ושם הגבורס יוצאים קודם החסודים. There, the light of the judgments, they come out before the lights of the chasodim. זה בחינת הצירוף של התפילין רבינו תם, שהם בחינת י' י' is the name of Hashem, where the Vav and the Kuf, they go opposite. בחינת קדש והיה כי אביך, והיה עם שמוע וכו' וכו' וכו'. He switches the last two parshas, Tefilin Rabbeinu Tam, Tefilin Rashi are switched. And Tefilin Rashi is Paravaya Keseder. Tefilin Rashi is you have Yud K Vav K, and Tefilin Rabbeinu Tam you have Yud K K Vav. The two back parshas are switched. And Tefilin Rabbeinu Tam. It says so. In Tefilin Rashi the Chasadim come before the Gvuras. So Rabbi Nosson now explains why when the gvuras come before the chasadim, it is
Harsher?
it is a higher.
Higher. The
It is
Rabbeinu
a
Tam
higher.
is higher?
Yes.
Because the Gvura is coming to end?
Yeah, the gvura come before the chasadim. כי בתחילה עליו המחשב לברוס האל ומירוס הדין. In the very beginning, the contention was, Hashem's kavana was, to create the world in Midas Adin. He saw that the world cannot sustain itself. Midas Adin. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought, Midas Arachamim and combined it with the Din. And this is what it is said in Bereshis, Ve'ela told us Hashemayim va'aretz v'ibara, Ve'yod asos Hashem Elokim eretz v'shamayim. It says these are the chronology of the heaven and the earth when they were created, and the day that Hashem Elokim, Chesed and Gvuros, made Shemayim va'aretz.
Eretz v'shamayim.
Eretz v'shamayim. Yeah, it starts Eretz v'shamayim. First of all, Eretz, and then comes Shamayim. It's v'shamayim v'aretz, and then it goes Eretz v'shamayim. V'zeh yadua she'ikar yetzer hara v'situr acharo. It is a known thing that the essence of the yetzer hara in the situr acharo and Sami and the other side, nimshach, v'pchinas gvurim v'dinim. It comes. It is the superfluous, residual. Emanations and manifestations of judgments. This is when it goes down, 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 down. It ends up as Yetzer Hara. It comes from Gvuras and Dinim shenimshochem mitchilas hatzim shachal haponim. The source of judgment starts from the very essence, very, very beginning of creation. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is absolute totality, which doesn't give any room for anything to be created. If Hashem is everything, there's no room for anything else. Hashem has to stop himself, to constrict himself in a certain way, to allow for something else to exist. Right? Because Hashem is everything. Everything means everything, Like everywhere is everywhere. So there's no room for anything else to exist. In any way, shape, or form, when you want to create a situation where you are able to give goodness to somebody else, the first thing that comes is you have to limit yourself. To give the other person place to expand himself, to exist. When you want to give your child, you want to give him goodness, so you have to hold back your mature intellect and deal with him on his level. All of a sudden you become a child. And you like it, it is good, you see it. What do you mean? You see it over there. You can't use your own mind, you have to use his. In other words, you have to hold back 99% of your brain behind your back, so to speak, just to keep it fair. Then you allow the child, an opportunity to express himself, to grow. The same thing is with relationship with marriage. It can't be all about you. If you hold yourself back, you allow the other side to grow, the other side to express himself. So any process of bestowing goodness must begin with the process of constriction, of tzimtzum.
That's the Gvurot and the Tefilin?
Yes. So the very beginning of the creation of the world is Chal Haponim. Hashem holds himself back. Hashem, He restricted his omnipresence. He just to give us a space to exist. It's like a father that bends down to the baby and goes like, "Who wants it to me? Who wants it to me, big boy? Stand up. Who wants it to me? You want it to me? You want it to?" That is it. Tzimtzum. That's all. Who cares about it? You go like this, the child, you're not giving him space to grow. So, giving requires tzimtzum first. So in the very beginning of the world, that Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world just with tzimtzum. because that's how he says Yetzer Hara comes from that starts from Tchilas HaTzitzim of the Chalal Ponoi. The Shviras HaYetzer Hara and the breakage of the Yetzer Hara and overcoming the Yetzer Hara, Nimshach HaMidas HaRachamim. You know, that comes from Midas HaRachamim. Sheshitfol HaMidas HaDin. This is what the Kodesh Baruch Hu, grafted into Midas HaDin. Pure Midas HaDin, the world would not have been able to sustain. The Kodesh Baruch Hu grafted into the Midas HaDin, Midas HaRachamim. So there's yesh koach l'shabbat yetzer hara l'foch l'kedusha. That by this combining of the Midas HaRachamim with the Midas HaDin, you are able to overcome Yetzer Hara and to transform it into Kedusha. This is what tzaddikim do when they flip over, the Midas HaDin to Midas HaRachamim. That's why in the very beginning the thought was to create the world, the pure Midas HaDin. Why? That a person will put himself, will dedicate himself so much in Avodas Hashem, that he will have koyach to overcome the Yetzer Hara all by himself. Sheba Midas HaDin comes, up in judgment alone, without help from above, without getting a what they call a handicap, without getting a head start, without getting a head start, just all on your own. The tzaddikim can do that. That's why their mode is Eke all the time. He saw that the world cannot possibly sustain itself, cannot suddenly exist with that. That's why Hashem put Midas HaRachamim before Midas HaDin. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu has rachmanos in the world and sends them all time Yurei Tshuva, and he helps them break the Yetzer Hara that comes from Midas HaDin. That's what Chazal said, Maseches Kiddushin, Bechol Yom Yitzro Shel Odom Misgaber Alav, and every single day the Yetzer of a person gets the best of him. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't help him, a person would totally flounder, totally fail. Bechol Yom Yitzro Shel Odom Misgaber Alav. Every single day the Yetzer of a person, gets the best of him, gets over him. Zen Nimshach, why does this reality, where does this reality come from? The root of this reality comes from Ki Batchilo Alav Machshova Livro B'Midas HaDin. The thought was the intention was to create the world B'Midas HaDin. Shezeh Adin Misoyer B'Chol Yom. This din awakes every single day. That's the din. That's the way the din wants to run the world. Hey, you don't measure up. Goodbye with you. Off with his head.
That has to do
That
has to do with what you always say, that there's a tov in the world, there's a light in the world. Until you overcome that klipos, all those things, you can't reach that. Same idea, right? You have to break that din, and then
it's always like that. The question is, the pro level, so to speak, would be that you're doing all your own. Like they said that the Vilna Gaon, they sent him a malach from Shemayim to work with them, and he wouldn't, and he says, "Thank you very much, I don't want it. By myself." There was no shortcuts. This is for the tzaddikim.
So the Rabbeinu
Because of what you're saying. You want just a second. Because of what you're saying. Because the principle is you overcome the din, you make keli, you get to where you need to get. That's how you acquire. Yeah, but people can't do it all on their own. Most people cannot do it all on their own. So the Kodesh Baruch Hu, he helps you. He goes into it's a little bit of a sold game. What they call this chak machum? What they call it?
fixed.
It's a fixed game a little bit. In the sense that he's in there. He's going in there helping you out do, to be with this me. So this the Yitzhak comes every single day because HaKadosh Baruch Hu also, Ki Hashem Yisroch Merachem, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't let you just flounder like that, because otherwise you'll stand no chance. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Makdim Midas Harachem Midas Adin. Immediately, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends a Midas Harachem, שזה בחינת העזר והסיוע שמסייע לו גם בכל יום. This is the help and the assistance that HaKadosh Baruch Hu lends each and every person every day. שעה היצרות to break the יצרות שהוא ממידס הדין. כי העזר והסיוע, that assistance comes from this bechina that he saw that the world does not exist, on midas hadin alone. והקדים מידס הרחמים למידס הדין. And he put the midas harachamim before midas hadin. If you can stop that, and then